Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Blooming in Brisbane, a local gardening TV show. And on tonight's episode, I have a chat to Murray and find out about practical aquaponics. Claire Bickle joins us for more wow factor herbs, including the curry plant and the finger lime. But first, let's go to Noel Burdett with hanging baskets.
Welcome back to Blooming in Brisbane. This week we'll be talking a little bit about hanging baskets and which ones that you can use in your garden, especially when it comes to the plant selection. We all like to have hanging baskets in our gardens, but sometimes they can tend to be a little bit troublesome because we often tend to forget about them. They tend to dry out just that little bit faster than many of the other pot plants that we do have, and that's normal. That's because when we do hang them up, they're in amongst an airstream that will dry them out. Many of the baskets that we tend to go for are these forms here with the coir basket liners in them, and they will dry out a lot faster. But that's only if you have them in a lot of sun. Now, something like this fern you could actually have in a cool, shady corner of the garden or a greenhouse or on a veranda or a patio away from the strong direct sunlight, and you'll find that they'll cope with that beautifully. In fact, many of these hare's foot ferns actually don't mind being a little bit on the drier side in between watering. You know, hare's foot ferns are very, very popular in hanging baskets, and for one main reason. They tend to grow outside of the basket and hang down around the sides, and as they do that, they accentuate the entire shape of the basket and they make the plant look absolutely beautiful. Very easy to grow. You can see a little bit here on this side how it's already starting to do that for you. Now, as we are talking about shady corners for hanging baskets, you know, I keep talking about it because I just love them so much, and that is the old-fashioned chlorophytum or the spider plant. These would have to be the ultimate plant for those non-gardeners out there who just love to garden and also have a little bit of nice green foliage in their garden. So this one here, the old spider plant, it sets off these plantlets in lovely numerous stems all around the sides, and you get lots and lots of young babies. But the effect, if you leave them on there on a hanging basket, is really quite beautiful. And it's a very old-fashioned plant. It's been around for, I think, longer than I've been alive, and that's a long time. And you'll find that they will actually grow very, very easily with very little care. This is a great beginner's plant for a lot of young people getting into gardening if you want to encourage them to really get out and plant some interesting things in their gardens, or even inside their bedrooms. You can even have that one as well. Now, another plant that you can have for a little bit of semi-shade, if you've got it, is the old nodding violet. This is a sweet plant that has a lovely cascading habit. You'll find that plants that you choose that have a cascading habit for baskets always work out so much better because they will accentuate the shape. They won't sprawl, or they won't actually fall down and break. You'll find that by hanging them up there, you can get a chance to see these beautiful flowers. Now, these are actually related to African violets, but are so much more easier than African violet. So the old Streptocarpus or nodding violet is the name of this particular plant. Easy to grow. It'll tolerate some morning sun, but certainly lovely in a basket where it can cascade and flower virtually all through the year. There's never a day of the year that they don't have flowers on them at all. So what if you have a nice sunny position in the garden? You may want to consider something like the flowering annuals such as petunias, phlox, all those sorts of things. Plants that we generally associate with planting directly into garden beds, but can be beautifully utilised in large hanging baskets. And they add so much colour at different times of the year. They really are worthwhile considering. The only requirement, or the extra requirement, when it comes to annuals in baskets is they will be needing a little bit more fertiliser on a regular basis. So make sure they get that watering about 2 to 3 times a week, and in hot weather maybe a little bit more, but you'll find that fertilising is vital to keep them in their flowering mode. When it comes to the longevity, I don't think you can actually go past things such as the Califer repens. This one here is called Summer Love. It tends to flower throughout the warmer months of the year with these soft, fluffy pinnacles that just sort of cascade. Again, this is a ground cover plant that is so highly valued as a hanging basket plant because it will flower, and it has these very interesting textural flowers on them, which I think look quite interesting, especially in the sun. They'll take full sun, or they'll take a little bit of light shade as well. Now, what about if you like a little bit of succulents in your garden? I like succulents, and I think succulents come in so many different shapes and forms. And one of the older ones to find is this Ceropegia, or this is the chain of hearts flowers. And if you get a closer look at this, you'll see these beautiful, interesting parachute type flowers that occur on all the way through. But the leaves are shaped in a heart-shaped design, and they cascade down so easily. These don't need to be in very large pots either, so they're great for smaller spaces. They can actually remain in a small pot like this for quite a number of years, or you can pot them up if you want to with other small cascading plants. Now, I mentioned colour before, and I really can't go without talking about the beautiful portulacas. Portulacas would have to be one of the brightest and biggest sparks in any garden that we can see from spring, summer and autumn right through into winter. They don't flower in the dead of winter, but they will stay alive. But one of the easiest plants, they make a lovely thick mat, look delightful in any style of hanging basket, and they don't require a lot of water. So a good drink maybe once, maybe twice a week in the really hot weather, you'll find that they'll cope. But these gorgeous jewel-like flowers of many different colours of hot pink and gold and white and orange will all pop up. You can multi-plant them to get this amazing, almost a jelly bean type effect. Just a beautiful plant to have that you can enjoy in your garden. Again, a fantastic plant to give as a gift for someone who wants to get into gardening, who likes a bit of extra colour coming their way. Now, last but by no means by the very least, you can have productive plants in hanging baskets as well. And I'm talking about things such as strawberries. March is a perfect time for strawberries, so this is a great time to get out there, get some of your new strawberry plants and put them into some of your baskets. Now, like all other annuals, strawberries actually enjoy a good amount of fertilizer. They are a member of the rose family, so they do enjoy that nutrition coming to them all the time. But they're a great way of actually having a productive plant, keeping them off the ground. For instance, if you have very vigorous pets, or if you want to safeguard some of the strawberries, say from possums or from young children, you can keep them on the hanging baskets and they'll cascade their fruit down and you can pick them whenever they're ripe. So that's a few little tips and tricks. Like I said, pick the plants according to the site. So if you have a full sun position, always look for plants in your nursery that enjoy that position in the garden. So lots of sunlight, absolutely fantastic. Like the portulacas, for instance, you'll find they'll keep going on and on and on. If you have a shady corner, or if you want to brighten up a shady corner of your garden or veranda or greenhouse, then certainly foliage plants and ferns are the better way to go. There are some really great useful plants. Always pick the plants that don't require too much water. You find that's where everyone tends to go wrong. They're overwatering and then they find they can't keep the water up to a hanging basket. But there are some good pots on the market, some fantastic plants, and I'm sure you'll find something that's suited for you.
Up next on Blooming in Brisbane, Claire Bickle.